You guys making any progress with fixing it? Hey, Rob. Oh, Dave, you sound like Rob. Sorry. I can hear you. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, awesome.
Okay, Pam will be here in a moment. You want the other chair?
Lord, did you give me the chair?
Yeah.
All right, we have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. Excellent. Okay, roll call is first.
Mike Brady.
Here.
Kelly Martin.
Here.
Pam Brady.
Here.
Kristen Franklin.
Here.
Tim Poulter.
Here.
Casey Calusi.
Here.
John Shepherd.
Here.
And Judy Baker, who is not here. Akshitha Sahu.
Here.
Elaine Ball.
Here.
Brian Gould.
Here.
And Dennis Trantham.
He won't be coming tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any visitors? I assume not.
No, and we did not have any, we didn't have any public comments that came in.
Okay, good. No public comments. Any old business? No? Okay, then let's move to the new business. And the first part of new business is the presentation by Kristen on the Redwood Park. So Kristen?
Yes. Can I share my screen?
I believe so. Who's the person?
Yeah. I think I
Yes,
can
you
do
go
it.
ahead. You can go ahead and share. You're enabled.
Okay, so can everybody hear me?
I can,
Yeah, okay. So this is the cover page, and it just shows some of the different people that can use the park. And I wanted to make the plan include all ages and all abilities. So that's the first page.
Looks nice.
So this is the current Redwood Park. It's just north of 14 Mile, tucked into a little neighborhood just west of Campbell. Or wait, let me see. Just right by Campbell. So currently it has 4 pickleball courts that's here. The shelter with picnic tables, playground, which this playground is an updated playground with the rubberized surface, swings, and then this is the old ball diamond. And when I gave a presentation quite a while ago to the Parks and Rec Board, the consensus was pretty much to have that ball diamond removed because no one is using it. And then this is the scene. This is the ball diamond. It looks like those buildings are close, but they're actually a long ways away. So that's the current. This is the first slide with some of the things to add. So the main thing on this one is the trails going all the way around the park. That way people can walk their dogs, people can push their strollers, people in wheelchairs can have access, bicycles, people riding. The trail is about a third of a mile. This is a small park. One of the things that are along the park are these conversation stations. So it's like a bench and a chair and then some room around it so that if someone in a wheelchair wants to join in, there's room for them to maneuver in that area. And it's wheelchair accessible, families, friends, neighbors, new friends, and community. Right now there's no benches, as far as I know, at Redwood Park. There are picnic tables in the shelter area, but like when people take their kids to the playground, they have to stand up or sit on the ground. There's nowhere to sit right now. So this has benches all around, with some of them in these larger areas to accommodate wheelchairs. There's lighting throughout the park for the shorter days, especially in the fall when it's still nice, but it's dark out early. There's a big parking lot here. That was another concern at the last meeting because there currently is 8 parking spots, and those are pretty much filled up just by people playing pickleball. So this incorporates a large parking lot so that, you know, for families, senior citizens groups, youth groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, school groups, and differently abled groups, because the park is trying to make it accessible and enjoyable for everybody. Around this portion of the trail where you see the white, kind of like a string with little knots in it, that's a braille trail, and so it's for the visually impaired. As they walk along, there'll be indicators along this. It's like a rope on posts, and it'll tell them like, this is the butterfly garden, or here's a place to sit down, and things like that. Restrooms. There's no restrooms I know sometimes there is a porta potty there. So I thought restrooms with baby changing stations. And if there's a male, female, I think you should put the baby changing stations in both. Because sometimes the dads take the kids to the park. Wheelchair accessible drinking fountains, which would be at varying heights for little kids, wheelchairs, adults. The dog drinking fountain, which is like where the water comes out by the bottom and it goes in a little bowl so people can give their dog a drink of water. And the water bottle fill stations so that if people have water bottles, they can fill them up. And then a water spigot for the watering cans. Part of getting the kids or anybody into the nature of the park would be fun to have little watering cans where they can even just water in the grass. Kids love watering things. And this is the recycle bin, Mike. So okay. So that's the first, that would be like the basic structure of it. And then there's also these evergreens that are around the perimeter. So that's going to soften the view of those industrial buildings behind and the parking lots. And so this is the next one. This is the evergreen perimeter. This garden here, this is the stage where the gardens and the plants and the trees are added. So this is a reminiscencery garden. It's also kind of sometimes called a memory garden. And it has old-fashioned plantings. This is the place that could be enjoyed by seniors in the community especially, but it's good for everybody. 6 more pickleball courts because pickleball courts are hot and everybody wants more. This area here is the butterfly garden. So it'll be like wildflowers that attract butterflies. And I thought it'd be nice to have some signs. So it's kind of like, an I Spy, or can you see, this type of butterfly or this kind of flower. Make it also some educational things, but mostly fun. This is the toddler area. So I have little hobbit hills in here and little wavy grass for them to play around on and little mushroom seeds. And then I had in there a big soft turtle. It's made out of that same spongy material that they use for the base of the playgrounds. So it's safe for kids to crawl around on and play. These symbols here, this is a flowering tree and this is a bigger tree. So the bigger trees are mostly in here, and I put some over the playground. And then these smaller trees are the flowering trees, like dogwoods or redbuds. And those are here kind of accenting the entrance area. There's also, so this is a raised bed garden. There's one for adults and there's one for children. For those that are in wheelchairs, it's raised up so that they can enjoy tucking the plants, smelling the plants, seeing the plants. And it could turn into a community thing where a group of kids or a group of older folks would want to do plants in here. But that would be a long way down the line. Then this is a little quiet spot. So it's like a ball that's actually like a chair that kids can sit inside. It's really good for autistic children when they get sensory overload to have some place like this to calm down. And this is the shade garden, which is kind of tucked in the corner here. And this is just a little peaceful look to hang out away from all this other stuff that's going on. So that was the gardens. Now this is the water. I put a splash pad here. I think it can just be like cement with those spigots that shoot straight up. I don't know it has to be a big splash park or anything, but just something like sprinkler, basically like a sprinkler that's down on the ground that kids can run around in. And then there's a fountain here, and there's a fountain down here in the shade garden. Then there's a labyrinth, which is for walking or wheelchairs. And then this garden here is spring, summer, fall, and winter. So there's 4 beds. So in the spring would be tulips and daffodils, in the summer, daisies, in the fall, something that has a bright fall color, and in the winter, like grasses or something. So the kids can kind of learn about the seasons. This is a sandbox, and as you go along this path here, this is also raised up, so little kids in wheelchairs can play with the sand with the other kids. And, oh, these are chalk tubes, so it's a tube here, and then there's one over here, and it's like connected under the ground, and then when the kids can like whisper in there, and they can hear the person all the way out the other side of the playground, so that's fun. And this is the finished plan without all of my notes all over it. Where there's sensory things, you know, look, touch, listen, smell. So those could be on some kind of a little post or something to let people know there's something interesting there that they can engage with. And that's about it. Then I pulled some of the pages from the Parks and Rec plan, which I can provide this PDF to anybody who'd like me to email it. And what I did was I just highlighted some of the parks that are directly supportive of this type of plan in the playground. There's a lot to read, so I won't try to read that all to you right now. A couple things as far as funding. I was noticing 2 grants that look like they could be promising. One is the W.K. Kelly Access to Recreation Grant. So they actually have a preference for Michigan requests because it's a Michigan company, and it's specifically for access, which is incorporated throughout the whole plan here. And another one is Michigan National Resources Trust Fund grant program. So I guess Governor Whitmer, with the COVID and everything, has made a lot of grants available. How would people find out about it? I think it would be no problem to get it like in the Troy Times, for this new park that, differently abled people are able to use. And also just alerting like the schools, the special ed programs and teachers, maybe adult daycare, the senior center, that kind of stuff. So that's my presentation.
Okay,
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I love it. We went and visited the park. It's nestled very neatly into an area that is conducive to have people come and visit. I appreciate the fact that it's wheelchair accessible everywhere. That's wonderful. Can we make it a little bit more educational? Like instead of having a cup at 2 ends buried underground to speak to the other side of the park, could we have 2 parabolas or something that, you speak into the parabola and it echolocates to the distance? Can the plants that you use be native
Yes.
which would make it grow more easily and be more, suggestive that that's what they should do at home. I love it. We visited it, like I say, and it just looked like a welcoming place. But if we had a little bit more educational use to it, then the kids would learn without even knowing that they were learning.
Yes, I was planning on having these signs that identify the different types of plants in the plan. Then also learning about the seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. I thought about doing a human clock, like a human sundial, but I didn't know if that would be a lot of interest for kids. I don't know if kids really care what time it is, other than we don't want to leave the park. But yes, I like all your ideas. And I also want to have one of those little libraries there. I just need to find out who kind of to contact about that. You know, the little lending libraries that are on the post.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what parabolas are, but I'll look it up. And yes, I was going to use all native plants except for in my little spring garden here. I really want some tulips and daffodils and stuff, and those are not truly native originally. But yes, it's I'm going to use all drought tolerant, really hardy native plants. Yes. So thanks.
There are some spring plants that go very well with tulips. What are the little purple ones, Mike? It escapes me. What's that?
Iris? Crocus?
No, it could be crocus, but there's another native. I want to say
Wild
bluebell.
geraniums. There's enough, but they don't last very long. The problem with the early natives is that they only last for a few weeks, and they're
But she's putting them in with tulips, so it could
That's
be a
true, too.
success of planting among the spring stuff.
Yeah, I think
And
it would be really cool to see them all start to bloom here, and then as this starts to kind of die out, then it comes over here. Yes, I wanted to make it educational and also fun.
yeah. The problem that I see, and maybe the staff wants to say something. The garden is going to be high maintenance. Most of we worked with the school across the street, or it's the Waddle School. It's just around the block from us, and I know that we helped take care of their garden for a while, but the problem is that one people plant it and then they kind of go away, and I'm not sure if the neighbors, how much neighborhood buy-in have we got? And the pickleball court's all full, at this point.
Just jumping in here, doesn't Troy have a gardening club?
Yes,
Is that something that they would be willing to help out with here?
They're already on the, they do all at the Nature Center and more so at the Troy Historic Village.
yes.
Well, I would purposely plant things that don't need a lot of maintenance, but yes, I know what you're saying. Weeds will grow everywhere. wherever you have dirt, weeds will grow. Definitely. But
The
if I
magic
really
word is mulch.
yes,
The magic word is mulch.
absolutely, lots of mulch and pack a lot of plants in, I mean, it's like in my backyard, I know, if we pack this all full of a bunch of, we need the plants that the butterflies make their cocoons on, and the caterpillars eat, and those things. But I'm thinking like black-eyed Susans, Shasta daisies, echinacea. I mean, they fill in so big. You don't really have a lot of weeds. Same thing with the shade garden. I mean, if that's packed full of hostas, when they're babies, there'll be weeds, but eventually it'll pretty much take care of itself when it fills up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'll be pretty too.
Yeah, it would be really nice.
So just out of curiosity, and sorry, I'm kind of new to this board thing. So what is the ask for this? Like, so the point of the presentation, is this something that you guys have been previously working on and ideating? Are we looking to propose something? What's the ask for this?
Well, I did present a different plan that still had the ball field there. That was a while ago, probably over a year ago. And staff and the board gave me suggestions about removing that, adding a larger parking lot, and some of the other changes that have been made. I would like it to go to city council to see it. I would like it to be recommended to have them look at it and see if they would like to proceed.
Okay, and would that be part of the, like, a cost analysis? Would be that would be what they would be looking at? Would city council be looking at it, or would we be looking at that beforehand, or do you already kind of have a rough idea of costs?
I don't know how much it is. The first one I did kind of a cost analysis, like you said, and I was pretty far off. It's unfortunate Dennis can't be here because he's the expert on that type of thing. So I would need help from Dennis or someone as far as how much things cost. Yes.
Can I jump in? So usually something like this wouldn't go straight to city council just based on the board's recommendation. Usually staff at whatever department level would need to look at it, review it, obviously put some price points to it. Especially right now, I know the recreation budget is just bleeding all over the place. We're losing money hand over fist. So we're not really directly connected to the Parks Department, but the city's had a lot of COVID costs this year. So Kristen, if you can send it to Shannon, that way she can communicate and send it all out to the Parks and Rec Board. Because of one of the rules that Lori talked about, that each individual member shouldn't mass email everybody, just so that there's no protocol broken. And then it is unfortunate Dennis isn't here, but he's yesterday tested positive for COVID and he's not feeling very well.
Oh,
So another thing to think of is even if we could afford at this time this beautiful park, our staffing levels are really horrible right now. Last year, I think maybe they had about 25 summer seasonals, and we currently have 5 full-time staff. So even though if they're like hosters or something, sometimes there is cleanup that goes along with those. So either would those costs go to the contractors that mow or help. I know at the community center we have volunteers that do our own flower beds because of the recession we had to get rid of all of our flowers at all of the locations. So unless you have a great volunteer group, which our student rep is saying she knows a group of gardeners, so that's good to keep in mind. Because there is a chat for those of you who don't know how, if you're not familiar with Zoom, there is a chat button on the bottom and a number will pop up if somebody's talking on it. So those are things to remember that she does know volunteers. But ideally something like this would go before the appropriate staff say Dennis and then Kurt Bovenseet, who oversees DPW, for the review and comments. It's great that it relates back to the Parks and Rec master plan, because that's huge in how city staff plans for the developments in the instance of Parks and Recreation. The city has its own plan. So Kristen, if you could send it to Shannon, that would be great, but it's very nice, it has a lot of really great ideas.
Hey,
Kristen,
Kristen, can I, yeah,
just 1 second, in the four season garden, in the center of each quadrant, you put some tall grasses. We have tall grasses that are dead now, but they have not expanded and they are winter featured.
yes,
And so if you put that in the center, when the flowers for that season die back, you still have something in that quadrant. And in the middle of winter, you would still have something in that quadrant. It's very easy on the eye to look at something vertical that tassels in the breeze and doesn't spread like crazy.
yes, I love the grasses, yes, I love that idea.
Elaine, can I follow up a question with you?
Sure.
Building off of a couple questions Casey had. Can you help us again with the process? You said Shannon was going to mail something out or email something out to this group. For what purpose? Are we looking for a recommendation, or are we going to discuss and vote that this is a recommendation to go to the next step from this board, or is this just something that Kristen has, done a nice job of really putting together a nice plan? Is it just something that Kristen is putting forward or moving forward?
Sure. So my thought was if Shannon would email it to everybody. Usually in our meetings, we got anything or everything that's presented or the information given at the meetings is usually in hard copy for you to go home with and have as a reference. So that way Shannon can communicate with the whole board. That way everybody could have a reference. And no, my recommendation is no, there's no movement on it other than to share it with Dennis. And then at the next meeting, if Dennis wants to give his feedback on it, then that would be his call. But it would just be simply for your information to have the information presented to you tonight in case it comes up again.
Okay.
That answer all your questions?
I think so. Yeah. I just. So it goes to Dennis, and Dennis will kind of help out with next steps, or
Yeah.
If it does move forward, we'll have a chance to discuss.
Oh yeah,
Next
it
question.
would come back to you after Dennis and appropriate staff look at it or find it's not feasible or that it needs to go in the next master plan. He'll know the next steps to do that. It would come back to you before, kind of like how the master plan came to you before it went to council. It would be similar. Any type of project or something in the parks or recreation department goes before you guys and then on to council.
I assume that Dennis could give us some kind of doing a full workup on how expensive this would be would be a lot of work. But I assume that maybe Dennis could give us kind of a wild ballpark.
Yeah, he could ballpark it for you.
Another question would be
Also,
how.
this one just has the paths, so this could also be done in stages.
Yeah.
Just to get some greenery around the outside and then a walking path and restrooms. That would be like number one. That's why I kind of did it that way, so that if it was going to be done in stages, then it's not like so much all at once. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me too, to do it in stages. The other question would be how much is the park being used now? Do we have any idea of that?
I know people use the pickleball constantly. I don't know right now because I haven't been outside.
Oh, right.
It's cold. horrible. But in the summertime, the pickleball is packed all the time with the 4 courts that it has now. The playground is used a lot, I think. I think it would be used a lot more if they had some benches, and it would be nice to have like something for the little kids. And I think people go there and like let their dogs run around on the big field, but nobody is really using this whole area. You know, the bulk of the area, I don't think people are using it.
It is a big open area, but and your plan would make it a very nice park. As Elaine said, unfortunately, it would also cost, and we don't have a great deal of money at the moment until the COVID is over and the city is back to good financial straits.
Well, that's what I was hoping for, some of those grants, you know, like the W.K. Kellogg Access to Recreation Grant or the Michigan National Resources Trust Fund Grant, some of those things. And also, if this was the park the way it looked, I'm sure that the shelter would be rented out quite often for parties and sports getting together and stuff like that.
Okay, so for now, we'll just, Shannon you'll send the information to Shannon. Shannon will send the information out. Dennis will take a look at it and see if he could give us a ballpark on a wild ballpark on what's the next step might be. Is that where we stand?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Hey, Kristen, I like that plan a lot, and I really like the splash pad. And someone who has a 5-year-old, I could see us using that park a lot if that was the way it is. Question for you, because I can't remember when it came back from the survey. Did cricket courts come up anywhere in those, and could that be utilized in that park, or was that something that didn't even? I can't remember how high that ranked on the survey.
Yeah, cricket did not score very high on the Parks and Rec master plan. It would take up, Tim can correct me if I'm wrong, I think, it's a lot bigger than a regular baseball diamond. It's very, very large. So that would pretty much wipe out your parking lot.
Yeah, right. The only cricket area I know of is that great big field right next to the community center.
Yeah, really, and that's really only just a practice pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big area all by itself, and it may still not be large enough.
Yeah.
That's the only official cricket facility that I'm aware of, but cricket games break out all over the place.
Yeah.
Baseball fields, football fields.
Yeah, I don't know why that population wasn't reached, or if it just was overshadowed by the other comments. Pickleball came out really heavily, tennis, that there's a lot of population that plays that, and Troy does need those courts back in some sort of fashion. But the cricket field was before council. If you watch the council meetings, that has been a conversation lately. So you can continue to watch there. But what the Parks and Recreation staff go after our projects are from the Parks and Rec master plan. You'll see more action at the Sylvan Glen Lake Park. There's a beautiful new trail they put in there. It's really nice. And that was the project that they picked for each time you submit your master plan, you have to pick a project. And that was the most underdeveloped park in the city. So that's where you'll see more action. But again, it'll take 5 years. But Kristen, if you want to include your grant ideas with the information so we can get that to Dennis, that would be a good reference. But he can speak more. Shannon will make sure we'll put it on old business. You can drill him for questions at the next meeting.
All right, good. The next order of business is the Troy Nature Society Annual Report.
Yeah, so we included that, sent it to you guys to look over. I've looked it over. We basically take care of the contract with the Nature Society, and then they give us a report every year with their financials and annual report, and give us their ideas for capital for the Nature Center, as well as any repairs and things that might need to go in the budget for the next year. So looking at it, it appears that they did not do as bad as probably expected last year. I think they had to dig in 20-something thousand out of their, right around 20,000 out of their endowment fund. So that was a good thing. But besides that, if you guys have any questions, you can just forward them to Shannon, and I will be happy to get with the Nature Society and get the answers and get them back out to you guys.
Yeah, I read the report and it looked pretty good. And as you said, the numbers were not nearly as bad as one might have thought with having everything shut down with the pandemic. So that looked pretty good. Any time you can get by a pandemic and not have a lot of problems, that's a good thing. Anybody else have any comments on the Nature Society Annual Report? No. Okay. Then let's move on to the Troy Family Aquatic Center report.
That item's mine, Mike. So last fall, city staff made a recommendation or sent information to city council and city management that there was a substantial amount financially of repairs that needed to be done on the outdoor pool, and city staff, for lack of better terms, felt that the facility should be closed if they couldn't recover. I don't know what a nice way to say that it's just lived out its life.
Yeah.
And that I'm trying to
make
be really. But
You're
so
saying they couldn't against me?
yeah, we were having more repair costs than we could recover in our gate fees each summer. The facility, let's see, opened in 1991. So it's getting very old and aged looking. The things that need to be replaced now are a lot more expensive than just maybe doors or windows, those type of things. We're looking at pumps, heaters, different things that are a lot bigger ticket items. The playground structure alone is over $150,000 to replace that. So that's just one amenity of the park. So I just wanted you to have the same.
Is it utilized a lot?
Yeah, it has a pretty good attendance when it's nice out. Usually July and August are our bigger months. Our problem this year obviously was COVID. And so we were shut down. I'm slightly nervous of when we're gonna go back and turn everything on this spring. We had to run some things all summer just to make sure they remain in good condition. But I just wanted to make sure you had the same information that City Council received on the costs and things. City Council gave us direction in the fall after we submitted the report that they wanted us to move forward this year and open the facility, and cost did not seem to be a factor at that time. We do have some unknowns. There's a leak under one of the pipes, under one of the pools, which if it gets worse, it could be a large substantial amount of money. Pretty big pipe. There's, like I said, the play structure. So it's all pretty much spelled out here. I know you didn't have a lot of time to review it today, but if you do think of any questions, you can email Shannon and we can email everybody the answers to those. But I just wanted you to be aware that there are gonna be a lot of costs coming down the pike in the next couple of years, or even just this year on, reopening that facility and going forward.
So
Right.
if we try and reopen it and it appears that there is a lot of, I mean, one of these big major costs pops up, is there a possibility that, to take it back to city council and city council will say, okay, maybe this is not worth doing? Is that where we kind of stand on, is there a decision in the future if we hit a great big cost to say, okay, just close it down?
Well, our budget process is coming up, so we submitted the items, and whether they're small ticket or big ticket items, we submitted everything that we'll need for the next 3 years for the, budget and, you know, to keep everybody safe and things like that. And the amenities that need to be repaired in order, according to the facility survey that Dennis's, staff did, you know, a couple years ago. So, it's gonna be up to the city council to decide how much money they wanna spend. Our budget doesn't have it, and we're supposed to cover those costs with gate fees. So, I honestly, I'm not sure how they would, vote or what their decision. I mean, Brian, do you wanna add anything to my information?
All I would say is that the direction we were told is to get it open this year, and so that's what we're going to do. You know, obviously, if anything big comes up, it does have to go to them to be approved. So they will see any big amounts that need to be put into it, and then it'll be their decision to make on whether they want to continue on or stop. But we have already done a lot of the things, like the plaster repair and resurfacing. That was done in the fall, so that's already $126,000. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that will be done over the winter and in the next couple of months before we even go to open it. So, and most of the time you don't find what's wrong until you go to open it, start it up. So, you know, that's how it'll be. It's really up to them in the end. But we are all go to try to attempt to get it open this year.
Okay. Oh, good. Any other comments?
A weird suggestion. What you had talked about earlier, I think Kristen showed in her park view for Redwood Park, to have an area that was concrete, that had the sprinklers come up and you could run through the water and get wet and stuff. If we had to close the swimming pool and people wanted to do laps or whatever, they could go into the community center and do it indoors, and then use the outdoor splash park, the area, and then lay on the berms that you have that are nice and grassy, dry off, sun, tan, do whatever you want to do there, and make it a family-friendly thing that was, I would assume, be considerably less expensive than maintaining the swimming pool that we have indoors right next door. But I'm not a swimmer. I don't know.
Right. I know that's great concept. I can't speak to, it's a 30-year-old plumbing infrastructure there, Pam. So I can't speak to if they could fit the pipes for a splash pad into those pipes, and if we already have a leak in one of the main pipes. So I'm not sure that would be great to save money and replace an aging facility, but I'm not really sure how that would work. Dennis probably would have known better, but yeah.
I think too that that is something that is being considered in budget talks for the future, is what they're going to do with the aquatic center, whether they update it or they repair it or rebuild it or put a water. I think that is something they're going to look at down the line, whether it's a splash pad or something like that. But it's definitely not something that if we were gonna close the aquatic center this year, that we could get a splash pad in there anytime soon, because you'd have to rip out what's there, put all new stuff in, and then also find the money to do that, because even though it sounds like a splash pad isn't expensive, it's not expensive so much to run like the aquatic center, but it is very expensive to build it, so.
Yeah. All right, good. Next on the menu is, or on the agenda is member comments.
Hey Mike, I need to interrupt, sorry.
Sure.
I made a mistake and didn't put a minutes approval from the last meeting.
Oh, you're right, yes.
So, I'm sorry, I need to add that.
Yes, everybody read the minutes from the last meeting? And are there any corrections or additions? There was one comment on the Parks and Rec Advisory Board draft. Oh, wait a minute. On the anyway, it says from 6 to 9 months, but it says from SIC, SIC. Otherwise, I thought it was an excellent report. So does anyone have any, no one has any additions or corrections?
I have a
All in
question.
favor of accepting the minutes as
I have a question.
presented, say aye.
Question.
Kelly has something to say.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
Kelly?
okay. I just wanted to clarify, because it says that, in the minutes that Judy Baker, resigned. Is that correct?
She did send us a voicemail resignation. She's having some, vision issues, and the city clerk's office isn't accepting that. I can't speak to how rational that is, but they want it in writing from her, so she's still an active member until we can get something in writing from her. So I guess she did call us to tell us she couldn't be on the park board, so,
Okay.
but city clerk wants it in writing, so we're working on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, say aye.
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 I,
Aye.
Any opposed? No, okay, so we accept the minutes. I notice I'm supposed to sign the minutes.
Yes, I
Sharon,
think, yeah, I will, get with you and schedule a time where we can both be at the community center and have you sign.
okay. All right, great. Okay,
Can't you sign them electronically? Can you sign them electronically?
I'm not sure, I will have to check with the clerks, to see if that is acceptable.
okay, so we'll hear from you.
Yeah,
Okay, any other comments from the members? If not, then we'll move to the staff reports. The recreation report.
Okay. So Brian and I this week and last week we've been working with upper management and the city attorney to write a new agreement for the Camp Thai restaurant attached to Sylvan Glen Pro Shop. So that's coming up for renewal. The contract expires May 1st of this year. We're recommending an extension, 2 5-year extensions to be exact. And so that should be going in front of City Council on Monday, March 8th. We've also been working on the budget. Brian's been submitting capital information, and per usual protocol, that'll come before this board in April for your recommendation to go to City Council. And you will get that information ahead of time. The next meeting is on your minutes, that's scheduled for April 15th. And I'm gonna let Brian talk about some stuff he has during the Parks report, but, my last thing was that, I wanted to announce my retirement. Friday, March 5th will be my last day with the city of Troy after 29 years here, so, thanks for all of your support. I know a lot of you are new to this committee, but, Brian and Shannon have been a great support to me and the rest of my staff, so.
You did a beautiful
Appreciate
job.
all- yes, we will miss you, and we appreciate all that. We worked with you from the computer group, and we know that you've always been supportive of all the things that we've done.
Thank you. You have some things to add, Brian?
Yeah, so just wanted to give you a little update on our programming plans as of right now. We have been able to restart fitness classes now that some of the limitations were lifted. We've also been able to start offering open swims for families, which will be coming up in the next couple weeks. That'll be starting up. We do have a family time that we're doing on the second and fourth Saturday of the month from 3 till 7:30, where people can sign up and bring in their families. They get half the gym for a half hour and then a half hour in the pool, and we rotate them so that things can be cleaned. So I think we had about 20 families last week, so it's filled, and it's filled for February 27th already too. So people are really happy to be able to get out and actually do something again. We have a daddy-daughter swim coming up this Saturday. That's full as well. Obviously, it's only about 20 people, but we are trying to do stuff to get families more involved. We're starting to plan out our summer plan. We are hoping to have, we are going to have camps in some fashion. We just don't know what it will be, depending on what the restrictions are then and if any are lifted. As far as room rentals go, we hope to start those again soon, but at 25% capacity, it just doesn't make sense for us to start doing rentals yet. Wouldn't make enough money to make it worth it. So right now the rooms are still closed except for we have had a lot of blood drives in here for Red Cross, and we will continue to do those with them. And we are also scheduled to get new carpeting in all the banquet rooms and in the dining room here in the next month or so. So that's all I have.
Is there any thought about when like 50% of the population has vaccinations? If they this would probably come down from the governor or something about what you can do about, because you have half the people vaccinated and half the people not vaccinated, and I know that could cause whatever you do could cause a problem. I don't know if there's been any thought about that. You could have 100% of the people, except they all have to be vaccinated, which.
Yeah, we talked about that, and it's really hard for us to give you an answer on that because things change so quickly, and
Sure.
and we do plan on doing some outdoor stuff for seniors in the summer here too, and when we'll be able to go back to having our regular card groups and things like that, I don't think that will be till at least fall, if I had to take a guess, where people are right next to each other. But whether, I don't think we're going to be able to say, well, if you didn't get the vaccine, you can't come in. I think that's going to probably be out of the question. But, we've been going by her guidelines the whole time and have adapted probably, 20, 25 times to how she keeps changing it. So, we will continue to change as we can and try to offer more as we can. So that's kind of where we're at. She basically says in her plan that you shouldn't have seniors, citizens until phase 6 of her plan, which I think we're only in phase 4 right now, I believe. So it could be a while depending on whether we decide to stick to that plan or go in a different direction.
Yeah. Okay, I know it's a difficult situation, and like you say, you have to keep adapting as it goes along because things are changing and fluid.
Yeah, Mike,
Yeah.
that for the first time in 1 year, we'll be back in print. A recreation guide will go back out into everybody's mailboxes. That was a really great saving for us financially by not printing that guide 4 times. So early March, residents will see a recreation guide back in their mailbox. There's some activity boxes for seniors that are free. You'll have to sign up for them. That they would have to pick up. We were as a staff discussing how possible it would be to bring back senior lunches. But again, like Brian said, people have to be so many feet apart unless you're in the same household, which seniors, chances are, don't have anybody else in their household. So we only have so many large rooms, and it's going to be a really long process to figure out what's the safest. But the seniors are the ones that are getting their shots first. So come fall, it might be a little bit easier because they'll be the bigger percent of people that'll have their shots. So, but we do talk about it every week about different ways we can change things and what we've added. So you'll see some art classes and things that staff has worked hard to put together, and teachers haven't been running back to want to do stuff either. Brian usually has over 30 fitness instructors, and what do you have, like 12 that are willing to teach? So everybody's not as willing to come back to do everything either. So some of our art instructors, they are at risk, and they're not willing to run over and teach either. So not only we really can't space everybody out, but people aren't banging on the doors wanting to teach the classes either. So kind of we're doing the best with what we got.
So Brian's comment on the fall is probably
Yeah, pretty close.
reasonable, estimate.
Yeah. One other thing too, I did forget to mention, Brian will be announced as the interim recreation director when I leave. So you'll see that announcement come out. Without an assistant recreation director, there's also 2 part-time senior programmers that haven't been working. We also lost, or have not had working, a birthday party event planner, part-time staff person. So my leaving, I was thinking it would help the department financially, but it also is going to put them in a little bit harder spot. They'll be down a whole other staff person. So this summer is going to be kind of hard for everybody throughout the city. But yeah. Does anybody have any other questions about stuff that we have going on? Or if you don't get our e-newsletters, those will continue, but probably not on as a regular basis. They were going out each week. That'll probably slow down a little bit since we'll be back in paper. And if you don't follow our social media, there are some like do-it-yourself Wednesday activities for the kids. Some of them are easier, some of them are harder. We still have our preschool boxes that are, might be, Kelly, for your 5-year-old, they might like as something to do on the side. Sometimes they're, seasonal themed. Staff is having instead of an egg hunt type of activity inside, they are doing a spring fest outside. I think that's like on or around March 20th. And that'll be for families. But if you know friends or family, everything is pre-registered now. It's not just free and show up. So for contract tracing reasons, we have to have pre-registration for everything. So that'll put limits on stuff. So,
It's been almost a year since we've been shut down, and I think I can speak on behalf of everyone when I say I think you guys have done an exceptional job with what you've had to work with. It's been very creative. I mean, I think we've picked up 6 of the busy boxes, and they've been fantastic.
Oh, good.
But I really applaud you guys for everything you've done and everything that you're trying to do, and I know it's really difficult, so kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
I agree. That's, well, I will, sorry to see Elaine going, and Brian, glad that you're taking over. And yeah, it's gonna be difficult because you'll be down a person and this is a difficult period anyway. And the summer is probably gonna be very difficult because you have a lot of people, more people wanting something, and some people, as Elaine said, are still not wanting to come back, and so you won't know what exactly to do. So, but keep up the good work. Anything else? Does anyone else have any comments or any additional business? If not, then I'll adjourn the meeting.
Sounds good. I just want to say congratulations, Elaine. Enjoy your retirement. Brian, congrats, or I'm sorry, whichever, or maybe both of them.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, everyone, then we'll adjourn the meeting, and everyone have a good week or a good couple of months. Hopefully, we'll come back, and a lot more of us will be vaccinated, and we'll be safer. Everyone have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, everybody.